On today's episode, we're sitting down with Magan Dunbar, a neonatal-pediatric respiratory therapist, an adjunct college instructor, and a local volunteer for PSI in Dallas, Texas. Magan touches on her experience with postpartum anxiety, depression, and PTSD after the birth of her pandemic baby 2 years ago. We'll chat about overcoming mom guilt, the power of journaling to process trauma, and finding yourself again. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the I Am One podcast are the speaker's own. Tuning into this podcast is not a replacement for therapy or any other form of professional help. Our discussions cover personal stories of perinatal mood and anxiety disorders and may feel triggering to some listeners. Your number one priority is to take care of yourself. So if you are in need of help, please reach out to the PSI Helpline by calling or texting HELP to 1-800-944-4773 for help in English and in Spanish. At PSI, we want you to know you are not alone, you are not to blame, and with help, you will be well. Okay, let's get on with the podcast. Magan, welcome to the pod today. We are so excited to be sitting here with you.
Hi.
You know, I remember hearing you say that you are an avid podcast listener, correct?
I am. That is correct.
Have you been on many podcasts, or is this your debut?
This is my debut. Hello, world.
Yeah.
Megan is here.
Yes. World, this is Megan. Megan, this is the world.
Hello. Hi, world.
Just kidding. It's just me and Emily.
That's true.
That's exciting. So your first podcast, we are so excited to just jump right in and start talking about all the good stuff. So if you wouldn't mind, please give us a little bit of an introduction to who you are.
Sure. So as Danny was saying, my name is Magan Dunbar. My pronouns are she, her. I am a wife and a mother to a 2-year-old boy, and we actually live in Fort Worth, Texas. My husband and I are both originally from Texas and both made a home here in Fort Worth. And so I am also a neonatal-pediatric respiratory therapist. I've been doing that for a little bit over a decade now. And I'm also an adjunct college instructor, volunteer coordinator for PSI. I think I covered all
Megan,
the things.
Is there anything that you don't do?
Oh, I do also. No, I'm kidding.
And another thing.
Do you also paint or crochet? I feel like you're going to be like, and I quilt and I made everything in my house or something. You're going to reveal some like...
That's what Etsy is for and outsourcing is for.
Smart.
What do I, I'm not crafty. I will say that's one thing, like with Nolan, I don't do crafts. It's just not my, I tried to go outside the box with like his Valentines that I made this year.
Yeah.
But other than that was a big jump for me. So, yeah.
Is he in daycare or preschool right now?
So he's in daycare. He goes to Montessori school, actually.
Okay. Do they ever have parent volunteers come in?
They do. So there it is. Room mother.
No,
I'm extra title. We found one.
All I'm saying is if you're not into crafts, do not volunteer on like the Thanksgiving handprint day, because I am forever traumatized by having to like just like hold a kid's, like every kid in that class had to come over and like do the handprint. And I was like, why did I dress in adult clothes for this? Like amateur.
Okay. Mental note, right? It's right here. Don't do the hand. I don't know if this counts as a craft, but for Valentine's Day, me and one other room mom did like heart-shaped pizzas with the kids. They seem to like that. Yes. I'm doing another edible craft on Friday since St. Patrick's Day falls on during spring break for us.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going in tomorrow and we're decorating cookies, like shamrock
shaped
cookies. I had somebody else make the cookies, but I'm going to help them, I'm going to help them decorate. And so we'll see how messy it gets, but it's in their classroom, so I don't have to clean anything.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Don't make my mistake, dress appropriately. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
We've covered a lot so far.
We have.
So let's just jump into why we're here. We're here. I mean, besides talking about all the fun crafts and all of the amazing things that you do, we would love to hear what role perinatal mood and anxiety disorders have touched your life. That'd be great. We'd love that.
Yeah. So from a personal aspect, it definitely, first of all, tested my marriage for sure. It definitely stressed the importance of communication and transparency. And then for me personally, just advocating for myself, asking for help. I'm one of those people, I hate to ask for help.
Yep.
And, yeah.
It's hard.
And it's
yeah.
so hard.
I'm putting twinkle fingers up.
Mhm.
Me too. It is hard to say that.
Yeah. And especially when you become a mom, because you feel like you need to do all the things and you need to have it all together at the same time and make it look good, you know?
Right.
So, yeah. And it also just made me, one thing I'm very, very thankful for, it just made me more of an empathetic person. I think back in the day, before I had kids, was just way more sympathetic, which I've learned are two totally different things, even though those two words are used interchangeably constantly, and people don't quite realize that. But I've been more empathetic as far as for moms, people with any type of mental health illness. So yeah, I really appreciate that. It helped me out with that professionally. Since I work in neonatal pediatrics at a hospital, I see a lot of parents, and specifically I work in a cardiac ICU. I see a lot of parents that they haven't been able to hold their child. Their child is there for months, weeks on end. And I can't imagine going through that and also having a PMAD, which I'm sure many of them do, and just suffer in silence. And so it just makes me more empathetic to them. And anytime a mom opens up, you know, I kind of listen. I know what to listen for. So yeah, I just kind of empathize with them. And then being a mom now, I sympathize even with the kids too. But yeah, I get it. Like they're sitting there. And I remember one mom just saying that this is a lot. It's been a lot. And I just knew by that sentence, I knew exactly what she was saying. So I was able to.
It takes a lot to even say that, doesn't it?
Exactly. And so I was able to empathize with her more and just validate her feelings.
Yeah.
You know, without saying too much. So hopefully that was helpful to her. But that's kind of in a nutshell how it's affected my personal and professional life.
So, Megan, have you experienced a perinatal mood and anxiety disorder? And if so, which ones?
I sure did. So I was diagnosed with postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, and PTSD. I remember going to my 6-week appointment, my follow-up 6-week appointment with my OB, which her office was directly across the street from the hospital, the women's hospital where I delivered. And so even just driving there and going there was like, oh my God,
going
like
back
just
to
crippling,
this place.
right?
You
going
said
back
PTSD.
To this place.
Yeah,
exactly. And so, and so I was telling her that, and she was like, yeah, that's very much what it sounds like. And for me, it got really, really, I always had baby blues, and I was able to talk to a friend of mine. Shout out to my friend Jessica, because I know that she will listen to this.
Shout out.
Jessica. She is also a licensed therapist, and she was great, you know, just as a friend. She was awesome. And I was like, all right, I got to talk to my doctor about this. And it was at like 9 months that it really peaked for me. And then it just got worse after that. And so I was like, I got to talk to my doctor. She gave me a lot of coping mechanisms and all that stuff, which helped. But I sought out therapy, which I'm sure we'll get to in a little bit. But yeah, those were the 3 that I suffered from.
And so you were diagnosed. So did you reach out to Jessica? Was she the first person that you kind of like opened up to?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Did she notice that something was different, or did you say, this doesn't feel, is this what it's supposed to feel like? I don't know. What am I doing? Or
yeah. So it's actually, she's one of my, my husband's best friends from high school. And I remember my husband just like watching, I was just crying. I was just upset. And he was like, do you want to talk to Jessica?
Yeah.
And so I talked to her. And so as a friend, she could talk to me as a friend, but not as a professional. But that in and of itself was super, super helpful. And then I had one of my other friends that suffered from postpartum depression during her first pregnancy. She's a mom of 2. And that was another person that was just like, so this is what I went through. And you can kind of see some of the similarities that you're going through. And yeah, she definitely just encouraged me to talk to my doctor about it and seek out therapy, medication, whatever I needed. So
So, okay, so you talked to Jessica.
Mhm.
Shout out again to Jessica.
She's gonna laugh.
Lots of shout
She's
outs.
gonna laugh so hard. She'll be like, "What? What? Why did you mention me?"
Jessica,
She's the best.
you're on the
Yeah.
internet.
If you weren't before, you are now.
You contacted your doctor, and how did that go? Like, what was that like for you to say, okay, I gotta tell you what's going on for me? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, it was tough. It was emotional. I was on. She again gave me some great coping mechanisms.
Okay.
She gave me, some great coping mechanisms at my 6-week appointment. And then I had a follow-up appointment, probably like 5 or 6 months later to talk to her about it again. Like, this isn't, I have exhausted those mechanisms, those coping mechanisms you gave me.
Yep.
And so, I'd like to look into medication, draw whatever lab values you need to draw. And she did. So we figured out kind of what was, my vitamin.
That's medical speak.
Totally. Sorry.
Lab values. I was like, okay, you and your doctor were speaking the same lingo.
We were.
Can we just check out my lab values?
Yep.
I love it.
And so
it's nerdy. We like it.
So she was on board. She's like, that's a great idea.
Totally on board with all of that. And the whole 9 yards. She checked thyroid levels, vitamin D levels, which play a big role in your mood, vitamin D levels. And I think a lot of women don't realize that. She checked mine. It was like so low, ridiculously low, real low, like dangerously low. So that taking supplements for that definitely helped. But so she was on board with me starting medication and all of these things. And then I just didn't feel comfortable with the regimen that we came up with. And then so I was like, you know what, I'm going to seek out therapy. And so she was very open to everything. And she definitely helped me figure some stuff out. So
great. That's awesome. I feel like there'd be so many doctors who you go, okay, I know we talked about this, but hear me out. I've changed my mind. New plan. Yeah. So the fact that she was like, yeah, you're in charge here. Like,
yes. Absolutely. She took her time, great eye contact, which is very important. She wasn't just typing on a computer the entire time, right? It's important when you talk to your patients, and I know this firsthand. Yeah, make a connection. Make it known that you are heard or that I'm hearing you. So yeah, she is great.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people feel so darn alone, right? And so if they know like somebody really is like tuning in. Anyway, well, yay for eye contact.
Yeah, it makes a difference. I'm super awkward. I'm not.
You're super awkward. Yes,
I'm awkward. Like with eye contact, it takes effort. I'm like in my mind, I'm like, make eye contact with that person. Do it.
You're not looking.
Yeah,
you're not looking at them.
Yeah, right.
Look them in the eye.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time I have to move my Zoom screen, I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm about to be not looking at you. Like I'm looking at you, but you're over there now. It's not my fault.
Right. I know. I'm working on that. Work in progress.
Aren't we all?
So you had some great help from your doctor and then there were some things that you needed some help with therapy to work through. And were those related to birth? You mentioned PTSD. Was that like during childbirth?
Yes. So let's unbox this.
Yeah, whatever you do or do not want to share.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. So to start, I had a great pregnancy. I was one of those women, one of those annoying women that loved being pregnant. I'll say it. I know everyone can roll their eyes. Pause for eye roll, please.
Okay. I'm rolling my eyes right now.
And don't get me wrong. I completely understand how lucky I was to have such a great pregnancy, working in neonatal pediatrics. I know exactly what can go wrong, et cetera, right? So I had a great pregnancy with my 2-year-old. My water broke spontaneously. I was about to eat Chick-fil-A and my son said, nope.
That is rude.
I know. And then, got to the hospital, progressed to a 10 on my own.
Were you able to take the Chick-fil-A with you? I have questions.
Did you eat the Chick-fil-A?
Not until we got home from the hospital.
No.
How sad. I know. Sad. So sad. But I got to the hospital, progressed to a 10 on my own, experienced some very, very painful contractions before I got my epidural because I was stubborn and I waited, even though.
You got to a 10 and then you got an
No.
epidural?
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I was like, I'm sorry.
No.
They told me that was not allowed.
No. Yeah. So got my epidural.
I want a refund.
Yes.
No. So yes.
Did you have a special pass that you gave them that said I can get an epidural anytime I want?
Yeah. Sorry. Rewind. Okay. Yeah. So got my epidural. To this day, I still tell myself anytime I stub my toe or get a paper cut, I'm like, this pain is nothing in comparison to contractions. And then I progressed to a 10 on my own. They're like, okay, let's start pushing. I pushed for 4 hours.
Oh,
yeah.
And let me just tell you, okay, so I work out quite a bit. I love working out. When I say there is no workout on this planet that will ever prepare you for pushing for 4 hours, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So push for 4 hours and then unfortunately suffered a grade 3 tear. Which I know, it's so funny. Every time I tell people that, they're like,
got goosebumps.
Oh God. And my husband's like, oh.
The worst goosebumps.
And so that made my recovery was a lot more difficult than most of my friends, colleagues, people that I knew that had kids before me. And then we had to stay in the hospital for a few more days because my son was jaundiced. So we needed the Billy lights. So there's that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so just all the things. And so, yeah, that caused some PTSD for me.
And as someone who works in a hospital, you know that Billy lights is like a normal part for a lot of babies. Like that's like the box that you check before you go home from the hospital.
I know. Yeah.
But as the parent,
it's totally different when you're the parent.
Totally different.
Yeah.
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 Does your career, your role in that setting, did that make it worse? Did that increase anxiety? Like, did you feel like, you know what? I think I know too much.
Absolutely. Yes.
Too much. Yes. You knew too much.
So I always tell people it's a blessing and a curse that I know too much. Yeah. You know, like, I'm thankful that I know of all the things. I'm not completely ignorant to what could happen.
Right.
But then again, like it's scary too. Like, I'm thankful I know all the things, but I'm like, oh God, I know all the things, you know?
Yeah, I wish I didn't know.
Exactly. And so it's a double-edged sword. It definitely is. And it definitely caused some anxiety. And so every single time I went into my appointments, which by the way, I was pregnant during the height of COVID. So my husband could only attend the 20-week anatomy scan, and that was it. And so every single time that I went in, there was just all the anxiety, all the things. But luckily, you know, he was there during the 20-week ultrasound and everything. Thank the Lord was normal. But still, as a first-time mom, and I think we're going to hear a lot more from other moms that were pregnant during the pandemic and delivered during the pandemic, that definitely played a huge role in our mental health during and after. So
that's the running theory. I don't know how much research is out about that. If we find it, we'll put it in the show notes. But you know, and I'd say not until maybe spring, summer of 2022 that people really started getting back to their normal, you know. Like for sure. That feels true for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And so during delivery, I mean, we were fine, but after in the postpartum, you could only have like one visitor per day. And so it was like just my husband, basically.
Could he only be there for a short period of time?
No, he could be there.
To go home to sleep?
No, he could be there the entire time. But yeah, so it was a lot, you know?
Besides having a really incredible friend that you felt like you could share with and lean on, and an incredible doctor, was PSI on your radar? Did you know that there were resources out there? I mean, I know 2 people who were in this recording studio with you that were unaware.
Nope, had zero idea. And I tell people this all of the time, that, I mean, PSI has been around since 1987. I mean, that's 30 plus years. For me, it's like it's been around for more than 30 years, and how nobody knows about this. I mean, even my therapist, who I love and adore, hashtag Rebecca. We're going to start a new hashtag now. She
New
is
hashtag.
just...
Move over, Jessica.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
there's a new
Drama.
favorite in town.
My therapist, I mean, just amazing. I love her so much. Found her through BetterHelp, by the way. It's on
Oh, interesting.
100% online.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, because pandemic.
Pandemic
Right.
and I mean, whatever is most convenient, I'd say, for a lot of people.
Yeah. What could you access?
Exactly.
How could you get help quickest? Yeah.
And gosh, I love her. Her and I are so much alike, and I look forward to talking to her once a week. Like, I truly look forward to it.
Aw.
I love her so much. So thankful for her.
Yeah.
So when I found PSI, I was like, have you heard of it? Sure. I mean, surely, right? She's like, no, I've never. I'm like, she's been a therapist for, I don't know how long, 20 something years, more than that. She's been in in this space. And she's never heard of it before. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. My friend Jessica, hashtag Jessica, she had never heard of it either. But now she's spreading the word also to her
Jessica's
clients.
back in the lead.
Back. So they're both spreading the word. But no, I had no idea that PSI existed.
So were you like middle of the night Googling or how?
How did you know?
I have no experience with that at all. I don't know.
Said
never heard of it.
New parent ever.
Right. So my therapist and my husband both realized just how fulfilled and happy it made me to help other moms that gave birth after me. So whether it was friends, coworkers, whatever, I loved it. And I was like, there has got to be a way that I can expand my reach, right? Other than just people that I know. So I was like, let me Google whatever. I Googled postpartum mom support, whatever. And lo and behold, PSI popped up on my Google and I clicked on it and I clicked volunteer now, and I got in touch with my local Texas chapter and we talked more and they got me in touch with who I need to get in touch with, and now I'm a volunteer coordinator. And
wow. So you found PSI online.
I did.
It sounded like an easy process than just connecting and just saying, hey, I want to help connect people to support in my area.
And so now I'm happy that my outreach is just that much more.
Megan, you're a professional podcaster.
Yeah,
Maybe this
totes.
was my calling.
Okay, back to the previous story.
Look at you reeling us in.
I'm the one who took us way off track. I gotta make it right.
What does being a coordinator remind us what city you're in?
So I live in Fort Worth, but we are fortunate enough to have enough volunteer coordinators here in Tarrant County. And
Really?
So they asked me to be a volunteer coordinator for Dallas County and the surrounding areas. A lot of cities surrounding Dallas that are becoming more populated and people are moving here. And so that's the area that I actually help out with.
So people connect with PSI and they're like, I'm really looking for a therapist, or what are people looking for that you connect them with?
Yeah, so therapist is probably
mainly therapists.
Mainly therapist is the number one thing, and we're so lucky that PSI has the resource where you can search for therapists or whatever you need in your area. And I know insurance
directory.
Directory, yes, that's the word I was looking for. See,
I got you.
The online directory is there, and I love that you can also filter insurance needs, location needs by your concerns. Because I know insurance is a big thing.
I wish that people didn't have to do that, but it is so helpful though.
Yeah. So I get a lot of that, and then just tips on whether they realize it or know it or not, tips on how to take care of them.
Oh.
How to advocate for themselves, and how important it is to have you time. You throw your entire life into taking care of this beautiful new child, or maybe children too, multiples. And so it's important to prioritize that for sure. And luckily I have an amazing husband that is understanding of how important that is, and we try to prioritize that for him as well. So
oh, go team.
Yeah.
Nice.
What's one of the tips that you usually share? Like, this is
Ooh.
free advice moment.
Like hit
right?
us with a hot tip.
Free advice.
Yeah.
So my friend Jessica, here we go. She's back in the
Oh.
lead. She sent me this amazing postpartum journal that she found on Etsy. And I can always send you the information to include
Sure.
if you want. But I have bought
drop
so many from this lady. She probably knows me by name. And I just give them to friends that I feel comfortable giving those to.
Yeah.
But I also refer, like, these women that ask me, I'm like, there's a postpartum journal that I highly recommend, or just buy a pretty journal from Target, Home Goods,
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so just go outside 30 minutes to an hour every single day. Be outside, journal, write down, brain dump, whatever you need to do. Go for a walk, just be with yourself. Peace and quiet. Go somewhere that you know is quiet and just get those feelings out of your brain so that they're not just circulating up, and that's a big thing that my therapist taught me as well, is when you write things down, when you write feelings down, you can own them, right? And it's so true for me. Once I write those feelings down, I feel so much better. It's like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
And you can almost like imagine lifting them out of your brain and giving yourself permission to not feel like you have to keep track of all of these things that are swirling around. You know what? They can just sit here, and that's a good spot for them to be.
Yeah.
My yoga instructor used to say, if there's anything that you put down that you didn't realize that you'd been carrying in the course of the class, and you want to leave it here when you roll up your mat and go home, you can leave it here.
Yes. Absolutely.
I was like, yes.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great one as well.
Like, I'm not going to pick that back up again.
Yeah. So, that's what I tell them if they want any tips or suggestions on me time, or just don't lose sight of, like, for me, for instance, I love my job. I very much love what I do. I worked really hard to get to where I was at, and it was something that I very much identified with.
Yeah.
And so I also encourage them to stick with something that they identify with. And if that's their job, if they're able to take a step back, which I was blessed enough to do, is able to take a step back from full time to as needed. And I still get to use my skills. I still get to do what I love, something that I identify with, because I feel like a lot of moms, they get lost in momhood, motherhood.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to still do that, and so I feel like that's another key thing to remember.
I think it is so common for new parents to sit there and go, who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? And to just feel like, I don't know.
Absolutely.
Because the goal of every day with newborns is just doing one task after another.
Yeah.
Get
to the next feed, get to the next nap, get to the next change.
Wait a second. What
about me?
What about that person that I was before we were doing this every day?
Yeah. It's hard, and people can warn you or tell you about it all they want, but until you become a parent, you never really quite understand it until you go through it. And I am very, guilty of that, thinking that I knew what I was getting into. This it was the mental health aspect that really caught me off guard the most. And so that's,
you were surprised.
Very much so. And so that is why I have found such a passion in talking about this and spreading the word, and because man, we need to talk about it. We do. So that's a silver lining for me, even though I went through it. If I had to go through that then to help others, then it's worth it. What was your question? I'm sorry, Emily.
Oh, I agree. It is the coolest club that nobody ever wants to join. But once you're in it, you're like, I really like the rest of the people that are here. Like a lot.
Totally.
I mean, not to put words in your mouth, but you can go ahead.
But go ahead. Yeah.
How much do you like us? I'm just kidding. We were talking about how it's just like the coolest club that nobody ever wants to be part of, and just, it's not like anybody expects this. And you had such a great pregnancy, so it's surprising. Yeah. Emily's got a great question, it looks like.
What is one? We're gonna do a mid-episode lightning round. We need to do this.
I love a good lightning round. I feel like I'm on Family Feud. Here we go. I've been training my whole life.
Okay.
Can we add the music? Probably not. Okay.
No,
it's
I'm
fine.
sure.
Just imagine it, people.
And at the end, I need you to say good answer and clap for me.
Good answer.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. All right. So if there was one thing that you had figured out in theory that now current you looks back on former you and thinks you did not know anything from anything, what's the one thing you had figured out in theory that you have since realized you were super wrong about?
Oh gosh,
This was not on the list of questions.
No, it's fine.
No.
Probably how difficult it was to be a working mom. My parents made it seem really easy. They're both full-time working parents with 2 kids.
Oh, wow.
And bless their heart, they made it seem easy. Like that was just part of the normal routine, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, during the pandemic, you know, with my son being in a Montessori school, there were times when they got shut down. And it was like, okay, well, one of us has to stay home from our job.
Yeah.
What do you do? Right. And so I thought being a full-time working mom was going to be easy, whatever. Oh, it's way more difficult because then like you want to be involved in everything. Then you're missing out on things. I worked full-time night shifts. I was missing out on like bath time and certain, you know, so yeah. So I'd say that was it, the balance of work and parenting.
I think
good answer.
That's because good answer. Right. Good call, Danny. Good call.
Good answer. Good answer.
I think that's because when we remember our parents and how they parented, we're remembering the older them, the more seasoned them, because we have no recollection of them floundering and trying to figure out how to deal with sleep deprivation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like you're remembering where they had it together, not that they always had it together. It was a learning curve for them too, right?
Like I remember dinner being on the table. I don't remember being privy to
the chaos that made it.
Yeah, the chaos of having to meal plan and make sure that the food is in the cupboard so that when 2 working parents came home, then the meal could be prepared and the laundry was taken care of.
Magic.
I feel like I woke up and there was like underwear in the drawer.
Yeah.
But like somebody did that. Somebody stressed about that, but I don't remember that part. So
yeah. And just like the multitasking too, like all the things that you need to get done while you raise and keep this child alive. Like nobody tells you like you have to prioritize your time wisely. Some things you have to let go.
Yep.
Yeah. It's hard. So
that was a rough one. Yeah, it's hard to go from a young adult in control of things. I don't know if you like feeling in control.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I don't know. Does anybody else like?
I love, yeah.
You love some good control of like what's going on, you know?
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Yep. I am one control freak.
I am one control freak. For sure.
Yeah, that's a hard one. That's a really hard transition to make as a parent, to just have to have things figured out and actually realize, oh, I'm not in control of everything.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Oh, and also I always heard the term being thrown around, mom guilt. Who's making
you were like, what's up?
Mom guilt? You know, of course you probably feel bad because XYZ, whatever. Well, the fact of the matter is, and I was explaining this to a male the other day because they didn't understand mom guilt. I was like, nobody, like, who's making you feel guilty? You know, what's happening? And I was like, no, you don't get it. Like, there's nobody and nothing that has to make you feel guilty. You just do.
It's just there.
Right?
Okay.
You just do.
Yeah.
You just feel guilty about all of the things.
And it's like a haze.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's a haze.
And you're just like, why should I feel guilty? So that's another thing that I try to normalize with a lot of my friends or help seekers that call in, is the mom guilt is real. It is real. And like I said, nobody and nothing has to lead you in that direction or make you feel that way. It's just the way that it is. So, yeah.
Ew, I hate mom guilt.
I know. God, I'm trying to get better about it too. So,
yeah.
You know, well, Emily, you look like real excited to jump into the lightning round. I mean, you brought it up.
Are we calling it the placenta round, or
you know, since
I
it
was
comes
waiting.
after?
yes.
Let's explain to anybody who is very confused right now why we would change the lightning round's name to the placenta round. This is an idea we've tossed around a little bit. I think maybe in the
We're looking to rebrand.
episode.
I don't know.
Or it may be a hit. You never know, you know?
Hashtag placenta round.
Honestly, every person I've said it to has like busted their gut laughing. Like they think that is hilarious.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm here for it.
we'll see how it's received. Megan, are you prepared?
We're going to get called into the
begin?
principal's office.
Are you prepared for the placenta round?
I am yes, very prepared.
Insert really.
No one is ever prepared for the
Intense
placenta
No.
round.
No. Megan, question 1. Besides this podcast, what's your favorite podcast? You know, like 1 or 2 favorite podcasts. You don't have to list lots, but
Yeah. So, first one that comes to mind is the Absolutely Not podcast by Heather McMahon. She is a comedian that I found during the pandemic because what else did we have to do but be on Instagram and watch things, right?
Yes.
Such a funny comedian. I'm actually going to see her live at the end of April. She's coming to Fort Worth, and I cannot wait to see her. I've never seen this. Is my first time seeing like a comedian live, and so
cool.
So excited about that. And then another one would be Love Letters to Kelly. She is on the Kid Craddock morning show that has been around for ages, and I absolutely love her podcast. It's basically people call in for love advice.
Oh.
And she just gives great advice. She's been through a lot in her life, and man, I love it. And I love just hear you hear other people's experiences and you're like, oh my God, whoa. And
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. And so she helps them as best she can.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Well, we're going to drop all the links to all the things that you mentioned here in the show notes.
Cool.
So that's
I just
awesome.
looked it up.
You know, you're already looking
I've already
it up?
added it. I've already added it to my. I'm
Yeah,
like,
this is why it's not called the lightning round anymore, because my first question was really long. And then we've got all this commentary. Okay. Well,
but good
listen.
answer.
Good answer,
Thank
Megan.
you. Good answer. Yes.
She wants to feel like she's on
Family
Family
Feud.
Feud.
Family Feud. I almost said Price is Right. I don't know what I'm talking
I used to watch that too. So
I love a good game show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted the wheel looks really, really heavy. And I've always been like, are these people just weak or is it really that heavy? Like, I just want to.
Yeah, you're sitting from the couch,
Mhm.
commenting on how weak people are. So weak. I can totally see it.
And you're like yelling, like, come on, you're way off, right? Like the
Yeah.
numbers are always
Fling that
bad.
wheel.
do
You're like
you even know
$5 for
how to
that?
estimate?
No. Mhm.
I always felt like that with the Wheel of Fortune wheel too.
Oh,
Like,
God,
how did it not go around the horn at least once?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay. Great podcast suggestions. I'm excited to check them out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Emily has already checked them out. Meg, we're BFFs now. What did I just say?
We're on that
Megan.
level now. Yes.
Megan, are you a fan of a real book in your hand, or are you an earbud person?
I am
Are you an audiobook listener?
100% book in my hand. I'm very old school about
Yes.
that. And
Yes.
not even a
Cool.
Kindle. I don't do Kindles. I want the book. I want to be able to turn the page, right?
You want to feel the
Mhm.
paper?
Mhm. My husband and I are the same way. So needless to say, we have tons of books at our house.
Mm-hmm.
But I just love a good book in my hand. That's just me. Yep.
Anything specific that you're reading right now that you would like to recommend?
So I'm a little late to the party actually on this book, but I just finished The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo.
Oh.
That's on my list. I haven't. You're like, yeah, do it. Okay.
I liked it. Yeah. It's long, but it is good. And it's not one of those, I'm not the type of person that, people say like, oh, well, you got to get into it first and it gets really good. No, if you don't have me by like the 3rd page, I'm out. And
this had you.
Yes. So this had me. And then I'm a huge, huge, huge Colleen Hoover fan. So anything by Colleen Hoover is.
What is it about a book in your hand that you like? Is it, do you like we do not need to go
This
there.
is why it's the placenta round. Go ahead, Danny.
I'm like, tell me more about, is it the paper? Like, is it the color of paper? Okay.
No, I think also because growing up, like we had textbooks, right? We didn't have all of these things. And also you can see your progress Like, ooh, look, I'm more than halfway through this book.
You can kind of flip it shut and be like, wow, my bookmarks really
good on me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like just turning a page. Yeah. All of those things.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. Thanks for indulging me.
Sure. Anytime.
Hot question there. Do you have, what is your favorite, your go-to for a quick mental break?
Gosh, this is going to sound very millennial of me, but
I love it. Continue.
I love just, honestly, I will get on Instagram and I will watch other people's Instagram stories because then I am focusing more on what's going on in their life and what they're doing and what product they're marketing or whatever. And it just takes my mind off of anything else that's going on around me. And it's very mindless. I think that's another thing. There's not a lot of brain cells that you need to use, right? So you're just watching and you're getting entertained and you get to see other people's lives unfold.
Instead of being the entertainer for your 2-year-old.
Absolutely.
You can kind of just turn off for a little bit.
Yeah. That or pick up whatever book that I'm currently reading. So one of those two.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have anyone really cool that you follow on Instagram? Or are you mostly checking in on your friends and you're like, oh, look at you. Like, that's so exciting.
There are a couple of local DFW influencers / bloggers, whatever title they want to use, that are moms. Those are the ones that I've kind of gravitated towards most recently. The ones that are moms that show real life. And it's like, yes, I get it. I totally get it. They're not glamorizing all of the things. They're being real.
Their hair's messy. They're like, here's what's happening today.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely
validating.
Yes, totally.
Because I think that we see a lot of curated things. Don't we? So to see somebody show up with stuff spilled all over their shirt or their hair messed up and, like things are not like perfect. It feels good. At least to me. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I completely...
Just to be real about what's actually happening.
I agree. And I know everybody can agree that social media has, just put out this false narrative about how perfect momhood is. And this is what you're supposed to look like every single day. So when I follow these influencers that show us now, this is real life right here. Not what I'm posting on my feed. Because you can edit the crap out of that, right? But on their stories, they're a little bit more genuine and transparent about things. So yeah.
So thinking about taking care of yourself, Megan, what is one way today that you will show yourself some radical love?
So one thing I've already done today is I went to work out this morning. Yes. Exercise. Absolutely. Man,
that's it for you.
Releases all those good endorphins, right? Yeah. So working out. So making that I try to make that a priority as best I can. Yep. So, working out. And
what's your favorite workout?
Yeah. So
what are you into?
So I recently started, this is a plug they probably weren't expecting, but I go to a place called Body Machine Fitness, and there is a location in Plano, Texas, one in Fort Worth, Texas, and I think one coming to Dallas, Texas. But it is a kind of like similar to these other boutique style group fitness classes. It's another one of those, but it is a club atmosphere. If you can believe that. So the lights and the music, just like in the club. So
the club.
Yeah. So if you were into that type of thing before, you may still be into that type of thing. Yeah. I still love it. But yeah, they so it's like a high intensity group fitness class, and it's like you're in the club. And when I am there, I forget about everything else that's going on outside of those walls, and that music. The music and the lights.
You're not in mom mode.
Yeah.
You're not in mom mode. You're not in work mode. You are there, like in the zone.
Totally in the zone.
Having some fun.
They're just geniuses, because when those lights start going and that music starts going, you just push. Like I push myself way harder than I would at like if I were doing a workout by myself somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so they're amazing. And then they have all these amazing amenities that I just love. And so it is 100% worth it. And I love it. And I'm so glad that I actually found it like a month ago, and it's so amazing.
Oh, that's a recent find. That is radical self-love. I love it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, Emily, do you have any other lightning round questions that you would like to throw Megan's way? No pressure at all.
Yeah, ask me. Yeah, ask me anything. I'm an open book.
Oh,
I'm an open book.
anything.
We can always edit it out. So,
Are you going to attend the climb event that is happening in Dallas-Fort Worth this year? Did you know?
I would like to. I would very much
Because
like to.
they're coming. They're coming.
Okay.
Also, low pressure.
Sign upable. You can sign up. My favorite thing to tell people though about like signing up for climbs is it's like, listen, it's not an RSVP to a wedding and someone's gonna be mad if you don't show up, you know? Like nobody paid for a plate of food for you. Like it is fine. You can
Stuff happens.
Right. Life happens. And it's fine. You're just sort of saying like, hey, I'm interested.
Oh,
It's
I
like
will
when you
say-
are on Facebook and you're scrolling and you see all of those events and you're like, I'm interested.
Well, see, okay, that's another thing. I also realized that, like, when people would, I'm a very punctual person. And when I say yes to something, I want to go do it, or I'm going to be there. I've made that commitment. And I care a lot about showing up for other people and just being considerate. I have learned as a parent that stuff happens, especially when you're a parent. Nothing goes as planned. You will not always be on time. And I never understood that before. Or even like texting back. I'm one of those people, I like to get back to people ASAP. And you know, and so now I get it. Like, oh, I totally understand why you didn't get back to me till the next day or 3 hours later, because you just either forget or you're so busy with other things going on. So, but to answer your question, yes, I would like to hopefully attend one of those climbs, and I think that would be so much fun.
Right
Just
on.
another way to network and reach out to even more moms. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, Megan, we are so happy that you agreed to hang out with Emily and I for a little while this afternoon and be on your very first podcast and
Yes.
shout out your favorite helpers during your postpartum recovery process.
Oh man.
Hashtag Jessica, hashtag Rebecca.
I think that was it. Was that it?
Hashtag really cool fitness place.
Yeah. Body Machine Fitness.
Hashtag
Look them
in the club.
up. Oh, it's amazing. So
Yes. We're so happy that you shared.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's such a privilege to be able to get on here and talk to you guys and share my story. And hopefully this helps other moms out there.
I'm sure it will.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the I Am One podcast. Check out today's show notes where we'll drop links to all the important things that we mentioned in this episode. Please consider sharing about our show on social media and following and rating our show wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. It only takes a minute of your time and, well, that'll help with our collective mission of bringing resources and local support to folks worldwide. From everyone here at PSI, thanks again for listening.